There are members on both sides of this committee and some that will show up as we move on that have served in uniform in the U.S. military. And I think we can all attest to the fact that there are differences between actions taken by soldiers on the battlefield and decisions made by politicians on Pennsylvania Avenue. You all are the soldiers, and there are politicians on Pennsylvania Avenue above both of you. I look at the Bureau of Industry and Security in a similar way that I look at the battlefield. The Bureau of Industry and Security is tasked with keeping American technology out of the hands of our adversaries via export controls. And any failure to do so, in my estimation and in what I've looked at, is largely the fault of the Office of the President and their failure to use this tool and actually counter China with every mechanism that we have available to do so. In the 7 months since the first hearing, it's become more clear to me that the Biden administration has not adapted to the emerging Cold War that we have with China, and our country, in some circumstances, has become less safe. In August of this year, Huawei released its Mate 60 Pro phone, which uses a 7-nanometer chip made by ICYMI. This is a highly advanced chip, making it incredibly likely that it was developed with American technology. And if true, ICYMI acquired that technology because of President Biden's refusal to fully utilize the Bureau of Industry and Security and all of their capabilities to stop it. Unfortunately, that is not a surprise, given some of the things that we've seen under the Biden administration. The Bureau of Industry and Security has had a lax of approvals of licenses for American technology to both ICYMI and Huawei. In one 3-month period, the Bureau of Industry and Security denied less than 10% of entity-listed People's Republic of China company license applications, and we consider that problematic. And we now know that these companies are intertwined with the Chinese Communist parties, and that means that the CCP has our technology and can use it to oppress its own citizens or to harm our citizens if they wish. In another example, in November of this year, BIS removed the Institute of Forensic Science, IFS, from its entity list. We will probably speak about this as this hearing goes on, potentially ending all export controls and opening the door for American tech to flow through the Institute for Forensic Science for the first time in 3 years. That could be problematic. For those who may not be familiar, the State Department found that the Institute of Forensic Science was implicated in human rights violations and abuses against Uyghurs. If true, it's another example of the Biden administration's willingness to appease the enemy, even if it means giving away our strategic advantage, one of our strategic advantages. Pushing for appeasement is one of the Chinese Communist Party's greatest tactics in stealing American technology, among the others that they use. As this committee's recent report detailed, the evidence has continued to mount. The Bureau of Industry and Security has a duty to set and enforce rules that protect American national security under the Export Control Reform Act of 2018. But under the Biden administration's leadership, there have been places that they have not executed this. Imagine if, at the height of the Cold War, news broke that the Soviet Union had developed and launched Sputnik thanks to stolen American technology. We would all consider that incredibly worrisome. That's not just a situation we could find ourselves in, it's a situation we did find ourselves in 10 months ago as a Chinese spy balloon floated across the continental United States, a spy balloon that used stolen American technology to spy on Americans. That balloon might as well have been designed like the Goodyear blimp with a sign on it that says where it was brought to you by. I look at this situation and I think that there is work that's being done, but I think that it can be done better. I think there are places that you are being restrained and held back, and it's to the detriment of our national security. Xi Jinping is gearing up for a fight. He's made that clear, and President Biden needs to match that commitment. I will just make one more analogy as it relates to export controls, and that is simply to say this. You could deny something to me and be effective in doing that. But if you gave that technology to one of my 4 children or gave it to my spouse, then you are essentially giving that technology to me because I can and will be able to get my hands on it. And I believe that that's the way that we need to more strictly look at China. We do a good job at looking at where this is taking place with, as we've discussed, things that go boom, things that explode. But we have to make sure that we're looking at every avenue that they could acquire any of our dual-use technologies and make sure we're examining, just because it's not an agency that necessarily uses items to make things go boom, that they're not taking that and getting it to one of the other members of their family. And that, I will conclude my remarks.
Hey everyone, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe. I will be back on YouTube with more exclusive content, so stay tuned.